Today we will touch on the first important topic, the forgotten.
There are two types of forgetfulness, benign and pathological. In general, in benign forgetfulness, the person forgets details of a situation and is aware of what is happening, worries about it and tries to compensate by giving an explanation or apologizing. In contrast, pathological forgetfulness is a completely different scenario. The person forgets a situation completely. 70% of people over the age of 65 have forgetfulness. Of that proportion, only about 20% may correspond to Alzheimer's disease. Forgetfulness is frequent in an elderly person, and it is necessary to differentiate between old age or disease. It is a thin line. It is important to keep it in mind and to consult the family doctor, to see the psychologist as a friend. These actions will help prevent major problems. Benign forgetfulness is the difficulty of remembering data, relatively important, recent information. He clarifies that, in general, those who have benign forgetfulness retain the memory of the experience, the information itself, but forget the details. However, he adds that these data may be remembered at another opportunity later on. It is the typical forgetfulness whose detail appears later, but not at the moment we want to evoke it, and that makes us uncomfortable. In general, in benign forgetfulness, the person is very aware of what is happening to him, her, sometimes he/she worries, consults alone, tries to compensate by giving an explanation, a detour or apologizing. She also stresses that when the professional asks the family member how he or she sees the person, the answer is fine. The patient is the one who is worried. That is the psychic profile of benign forgetfulness. On the other hand, in pathological forgetfulness, the scenario is completely different. There is a concerned family member. The person usually minimizes or does not realize what is happening to him or her, has difficulty in remembering important recent data, because he or she forgets the situation completely, as if he or she had never lived it. A practical example: the whole family goes to a birthday party, and the next week, when they sit down to eat, they start talking. "Do you remember Maria's birthday?" And the person says, "What birthday?" "Maria's birthday, don't you remember?" "No, I never went to her birthday." He also stresses that it may be the case that he is told something, but he asks 1,000 times about the same thing, and the relative answers, "I already told you." He forgets a situation completely, denies that someone told him something, does not retrieve information despite the clues he is given, minimizes the problem. He thinks that this does not happen to him and it is the environment that lies. This speaks of a disease of pathological forgetfulness, he assures. If the person has been distracted all his life, when he gets older, we have to teach him to optimize his intellectual performance so that his level of attention and memory does not decrease. Try to do things one at a time. Give yourself time, pay more attention, describe, write down, among other keys. Lack of attention is key. In practice, it means that there was no registration in the brain. Also, stress, anxiety, chronic pain, insomnia, etc. walk within attention. What should be taken into account is whether or not it happened before, if it changed, if it impacts on daily life, if you go to the supermarket 3 times a day when before you went once, if you left the car in a place, looked for it and found it hours later, etc.
Practical tips.
Just as we sometimes have a habit of paying little attention, we can also develop a habit of paying more attention to things, with details, references, descriptions.
The solution to oblivion is to create a narrative.
In my experience, the most important thing is to create a narrative for each forgetfulness. Example: with huge parking lots, it is common to forget where the car was parked. So the solution when parking is to describe in detail where the car was left. Some sign like a light pole, a sign, location with reference to the store, etc. When you return from the store, you will remember the details you memorized and you will find the car easily. This process must be repeated 7 to 10 times on average, and then automatically the brain will do it without you thinking or analyzing it. If it happens again in the future, repeat it again. In conclusion, it is a practice to be done for life. The same if you forget your shorts, towels, polo shirts, etc. at the gym. You should recreate in detail the moment of entering the shower, and make the determination that you should not forget things. Repeat where you left your shorts, shampoo, keys, etc. And be aware that you should return home with them. The same with daily activities, turning on off the stove, where the keys are left, etc. Do not forget that as forgetfulness is a natural and progressive process, every so often as we notice it, we should do again those 7-10 repetitions mentioned above.
In the description of this video, you will find the links to the 12 complete tracks.